Hey guys, Sean here. Let's talk about the student loan forgiveness plan Biden just announced. Now, this is a controversial subject. People who are deep in debt will be jumping for joy, they are ecstatic, while others who did the responsible thing and they paid off their loans will find this absolutely unfair. I think we have reached a turning point where society is happy to take away responsibility from the individual just to keep this system running. We are moving towards short-term thinking and a feel-good world where the government is there to bail us out. Now, don't get me wrong. This student debt forgiveness is a bailout from the government, and according to a study from Penn Wharton, this could cost the United States at least $300 billion. It is the taxpayers who are on the hook, and the whole world is watching this debacle. This is not free market behavior. This will open a can of worms that goes beyond helicopter dropping money to a bunch of college students. So according to the plan, Biden is going to cancel $10,000 in student debt per borrower if their incomes are less than 125 grand, and this amount could scale up to $20,000. And we all know the big student loan crisis going on in America. The government subsidizes education by giving loans, and this allows colleges to charge an insane amount of money, sometimes almost six figures just to get a degree, and the cost of college has easily tripled over the last few decades. Now, sure, on the surface, the lower income groups will benefit from this debt forgiveness the most, but this is penalizing everyone else. Now, originally, the amount was supposed to be a whopping $50,000 in debt cancellations, not just 10 grand, but the big problem is the precedent this was set for future generations. We have Lawrence Summers, the former Secretary of the Treasury, going on the record saying, student loan debt relief is spending that raises demand and increases inflation. It consumes resources that could be better used helping those who did not, for whatever reason, have the chance to attend college. It will also tend to be inflationary by raising tuitions. Now, student loan forgiveness is inherently unfair. It is inflationary and it reduces trust in how the world actually views the American economy. Now, I believe the majority of us here value hard work, discipline, and staying true to our word. The problem with debt forgiveness is that it destroys all these values that a person would naturally build. I remember when I had to pay off my own student debt, it was only around 18 grand, but it taught me lessons that stayed with me till today. I had to choose a major that I could get a job once those 4 years were up, and I had to set aside a portion of my paycheck month after month to pay back my loan, and that meant foregoing a lot of partying, good food, and nights out with my buddies. Did I enjoy it? No. But was it good for me? Yes. And this is the biggest setback to students today. They no longer have to choose a productive degree that has demand. They can opt for underwater basket weaving, which costs $50,000. They no longer see a point to save money to pay back their loans because Big Daddy government will come in, they'll swoop in and save their behind. Students will not understand the consequences of their actions, and they might believe everything is a free ride. Additionally, this is a big slap in the face to people who did the right thing. It is unfair to people who work hard and paid off their debt, and it excludes people who didn't have the chance to even attend college. Now, this is a big problem, and it sets up a big moral hazard for higher education and the entire economy at large. So let's say you're about to head to college, you're still deciding if it's worth it, whether you should study engineering versus tarot card reading. Now you see the majority of graduates enjoying a 10 grand debt forgiveness for absolutely nothing, right? What kind of message is being planted into your head? You probably think, wait a minute, I can study whatever I want, I can make stupid decisions, and the government will pay off my loans. They have done it before, they'll probably do it again. It's just like QE1 and QE2. This student loan forgiveness won't just be a one-time event. The students know it and the colleges will pounce on it. We will see universities raising tuition fees and students going deeper into debt. Now, the Penn Wharton study projected the consequences, and they state a third effect could also emerge. Some of the benefit from debt forgiveness might be captured by colleges themselves in the form of higher prices. There will be fewer blue-collar workers and more students flooding into the colleges, right? Because now you get a free ride. What's the point of becoming an electrician when my degree is now partially funded by taxpayer dollars? And I don't blame the students who are going to enjoy the free 10 grand helicopter drop, right? Take the money, guys, and pay off your debt. But we need to talk about the elephant in the room. This student debt jubilee is inflationary and will be paid back by the people on the street. This is the big outcry that sensible people are having and why this will push prices higher in the immediate future. Now let's talk about the economy and how this move is undoubtedly inflationary. Now when someone takes out debt to pay for anything, new money is created and circulates around the economy. And when you pay it off, you destroy that debt and you deflate away the money supply, right? So paying off debt is deflationary. That's a good thing and precisely what is supposed to happen. Now, because the government is forgiving that amount of money to the tune of $300 billion, now the money supply has $300 billion more dollars that the government will have to absorb. The money is already in circulation and will contribute to higher inflation. And the next obvious impact of a debt jubilee is now people will have more money in their pockets to spend. If you are paying $500 a month towards your student loans, now you have an extra $500 to buy other stuff. The more responsible adults will either save the money or use it to put food on the table and gas in the tank. But let us be real here. A lot of this money will be spent on discretionary junk and just wasted away. Now, there are many arguments that are pushing back on the high inflation impact many of us know it will have. The Roosevelt Institute states that cancelling student debt would not be inflationary, particularly because higher wealth is unlikely to drive spending. Firstly, that statement really doesn't make sense. It is people who have higher wealth that drive spending more. You can't spend anything if you're broke and don't have money, right? Now, another survey suggests that this debt forgiveness will help people pay down other types of debt. But that is just shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic. It doesn't make sense. The ship is still going to sink. If debt forgiveness is deflationary, as they say, then why not forgive the entire 50 grand amount? Why not forgive housing debt or that car loan as well? And the problem with debt forgiveness is that it penalizes savers and rewards people going into debt. This creates an unhealthy culture of people eager to borrow to spend and speculate and just pray for the government to bail them out. We are talking about debt bubbles and the rise of more ninja loans, no job, no income, no assets, the exact same situation that fueled the housing crisis back in 2008. But we have to analyze the timing for this sudden student loan forgiveness because it looks suspiciously convenient. The midterms are coming and Biden needs to pull out a win, so the easiest way is to give free money away. Because at least for the short term, people will be happy, right? They have more money in their pockets and they can go out and spend. And this could in fact keep the economy going on for a while longer and defy the expert opinions of consumer spending drying up by December. Company earnings won't be as bad as expected and the prices of food and gas will still be elevated. People will have more money in their pockets, at least in the short term, and that might be enough to keep them happy and vote for Biden. But this brings the bigger question of a total debt jubilee. If the US government can forgive their student debt, why not extend this to the national debt? Why can't the Federal Reserve forgive the debt of the US government? Remember that the Federal Reserve has almost $9 trillion worth of debt and a large chunk are US government treasuries. Over 17% of the US debt is held by the Fed. So if the Fed does a debt jubilee and forgives the government's portion of their treasury debt, this will cause a massive spike in inflation. Suddenly, the US government now has hundreds of billions of dollars to spend and inflation will spike. Foreign holders of US debt like China will be furious because now the US dollar has depreciated even further and their holdings of dollars are now devalued. Plus, if a debt jubilee can be done, there's also nothing stopping the government from printing tons of money to pay off bondholders as well. Might as well fire up the printing presses to settle the remaining debt, right? And that is why this plan is such a slippery slope. Fiat currency is a confidence game, and if it is no longer backed by trust and the commitment of borrowers to repay, this house of cards will collapse. Now, in the best case scenario, this will help the economy survive a while longer. It is the worst case scenario that we have to prepare for. We can expect moral hazard to come back and irresponsible spending for the years to come. There will be more asset bubbles popping up and inflation will continue to remain elevated. But if this loan forgiveness spreads into the national debt and the unthinkable happens, we will see confidence in the dollar crumble, and if that will happen, it will be holders of hard assets, gold, real estate and farmland who will be the big winners, right? The big losers will be savers and people who are playing by the rules. And if you have been responsible and cleared your debt before this policy, I understand how frustrating it can be. An extra $10,000 will benefit everyone, but this is something out of your control. But you can use this information to prepare for what's likely to come. We can expect more continued life support for the markets, and inflation will continue to stay high. And in the longer term, you definitely want to be holding on to more hard assets and not just paper dollars. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you support the student loan forgiveness program? Is this a good idea, or would it lead to higher inflation? Let me know in the comments below. Stay safe, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe as we navigate through these crazy times.